Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Political Ray. I hope everybody had a very great Monday. Um, we got the big story coming out of yesterday was the Supreme Court ruling saying that President Trump does have the right to deport gang members, violent gang members, under the you know, the Alien Act that he's been citing, and it's getting wild. We're gonna get into this under the Alien Enemies Act. So we're gonna get into this. We're gonna get into a couple other stories. Um, you know, dire wolves apparently are on the comeback. They've got dire wolves that are great. Now, different people have said different things about this story, but we're gonna get into that just a little bit. And we've also got Elon saying that he's gonna start going after, he's gonna be looking into some of these Congress members that are making millions and millions of dollars. He's going to start looking into this kind of stuff, and rightfully so. I mean, there was a story just a few days back that last week about Nancy Pelosi putting in like thousands of dollars into a tech company, and then ended up making $100,000 off of it once the stock just took off. But we'll get into this, a couple other stories, but we are live Monday through Friday, 7:30 Eastern Time, just ahead of the Rumble lineup. So, hey, hit that follow button, like, share the show. I appreciate you being here, and let's go ahead and we'll get into it. Let me go ahead and shrink myself down here, and we'll get into this first story, the Alien Enemies Act. Now, the Supreme Court has ruled that Trump is within his powers as the president to enact this and deport these violent criminals outside of our country. And I'm 100%. I don't think that Judge Boebert, who said that tried to block this and said that you need to turn the plane around. We all remember that story. I don't agree with it. I'm glad that this has come down from SCOTUS, because I mean, hey, if President Trump doesn't have this kind of power and he gets overruled by a circuit judge, then it causes all kinds of issues and other problems. So, I mean, think of it this way. This is the example that I gave before. If President Trump is in negotiations with Russia and Ukraine, and he says, look, we can do this and we can do that and blah, blah, blah. But then Putin's going to come back and say, well, you've got judges that are below you that are overruling your decisions. So who's to say that you have that power? That, and rightfully so. Putin could just say, look, you've got judges that are overruling you. I can't trust anything you say, because anything you say to me just could be overruled by one of these other judges. It's a valid point to make. If he doesn't have the kind of power that he says that he does, then what does it matter if he's in negotiations with other countries and anything else for that matter? Anyway, so we'll take a look at this. This is let me see here. See if we can get this a little bigger. D.C. Circuit Court denied the government's emergency motion to stay the orders the government then applied to this court, seeking vacatur in the orders. We let's see, blah blah blah. We grant application to vacate the TROs, the detainees, seek equitable relief against the implementation of the proclamation, and against their blah blah blah. Let's see. Challenges to remove under AEA. That's the Aliens Enemies Act. Statute, blah, blah, blah. Available to challenge deportation under immigration status that precluded judicial intervention beyond what was necessary to vindicate due process rights. Let's see. Okay. Well, let's see. I think that's the last one. Let's take a look at this. This is the first page. Matter concerns detention and removal of Venezuelan nationals believed to be members of TDA, entity of the State Department. Okay. So pretty much just, they gave President Trump, look, they say he's got this power. There's nothing anybody can do about it. He's got the authority to do this, and deal with it. So we've got that, and we'll take a look at this. Is from the Post Millennial. This is what they're reporting on it. We'll take a look at this. Let's see. Get rid of this ad. Okay. Breaking: Supreme Court allows Trump admin to continue deportations under Alien Enemies Act. Rightfully so. Again. Anyway, let's see. The Supreme Court on Monday evening ruled that the Trump administration can continue to use the Alien Enemies Act, granting an emergency request from the administration. The unsigned decision allows Trump to invoke the 1798 law while litigation involving the use of this. See, that's the way it should have been in the first place. I think I've said it before that they can't just willy-nilly tell this guy what to do if they want to fight it in court. Yes, they have that right, but if they're going to fight it in court, they have to go through the process. And while they're going through that process, President Trump still has the authority to go ahead and deport these people while they're, if it comes out in court that he's not allowed to do it, then that's one thing. But they can't just stop it outright. It's got to go through the process, and he should still be able to deport these people while this is going through litigation. How long that takes, I'm not sure. Hopefully it can get done soon. But I don't see a problem with this, especially, look, if they're identified as gang members. Again, and I'll say this probably 100 more times, probably 100 again. If you're against getting rid of heinous, violent criminals that are in this country, that are MS-13, TDA, what have you, if you want these people to stay in our communities and our streets and what have you, then you're not a good person. Amy Coney Barrett she's been siding with the left side of this Supreme Court for a few times now, and a lot of people are calling her out on her BS because she was a Trump appointed judge, and she has not sided with him on anything. This, in my opinion, is something that she should side with President Trump on, because of the fact that these people are evil. They commit heinous crimes of rape, murder, all kinds of other stuff, drug trafficking, child trafficking. These people I do not want them in the United States, in our communities. That's it. Get rid of them. Anyway, let's see. Trump wrote in response to the ruling, the Supreme Court has upheld the rule of law in our nation by allowing a president, whoever that may be, to be able to secure our borders and protect our families and our country itself. A great day for justice in America. I agree. Let's see. That's him on his I think that's his truth. Yep, that's his truth. Supreme Court will allow Trump admin to continue deportations under the Alien Enemies Act. Again, this is going to be, they came down saying that he can do this, and if they want to fight it in court, they have to go through that process. But while that process is taking place, he can still do these deportations. Let's take a look at this clip from Fox News on here.
We're getting some breaking news at this hour coming out of the Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court has handed President Trump a victory, letting him and his administration use the 1798 law that historically has been employed only in wartime to swiftly deport alleged Venezuelan gang members as part of the Republican president's hardline approach to immigration, granting that administration request to lift the Washington-based U.S. judge James Boasberg's March 15th order that had temporarily blocked the summary deportations under the Alien Enemies Act while litigation in the case continues. So the Supreme Court has weighed in.
Okay, so while litigation is going on, he can still enact this law. And I'm for it. Again, I don't want these people in our communities. I don't want them, in the same neighborhoods as my kids. I don't want them here. Anyway, excuse me. The court said in that order the officials must give those subject to the act adequate notice that they are being removed so that they have time to bring forth habeas complaints. Okay. The notice must be afforded within a reasonable time and in such a manner as will allow them to actually seek habeas relief in the proper venue before such removal occurs. The justices wrote. They added the detainees subject to removal orders under the AEA are entitled to notice and opportunity to challenge their removal. The Supreme Court's order lifts Judge James Boasberg's order that blocked the use of the act back in March. Trump invoked the Alien Enemies Act on March 15th to swiftly deport members of the violent Venezuelan gang TDA from the United States. Boasberg issued his order that same day. The act was invoked, and the timing of the flights that left the United States that evening for an El Salvadorian prison under the act were called into question. That's when this Judge Boasberg said to turn the flight around, but it was already over in that international waters. It was out of President Trump's hands at that point. I mean, anyway, I think these judges think that they have way too much power. I don't think that they have the power to override the president. I understand that there's checks and balance in our system, but in this particular case, under the Alien Enemies Act, I don't think that they have the authority to overthrow it. I mean, you can comment below, let me know if I'm wrong, but I think that they're going about this in the correct way now. Like I said, he can do these deportations now, and if they want to fight it in court, they have to go through that process. But while that process is taking place, deportations will be happening. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said in a statement, at the time, the administration did not refuse to comply with a court order. The order was issued after terrorist TDA aliens had already been removed from the U.S. territory. The written order and the administration's actions do not conflict. Yeah, because when that order was put out by this Judge Boasberg, the flight was already over international waters, and at that point, President Trump couldn't just say, hey, turn the plane around. Even if he could, again, being violent, heinous, evil people that are going to this prison, this judge coming out and saying, hey, bring them back to the States. What kind of person does that? Why do you want these people in the U.S.? It's an easy question. Because he's not a good person. He's evil. Either that or he just wants his name out there, because that got accomplished. Anyway, let's see what else we got. Tonight's decision is a landmark victory for the rule of law. An activist judge in Washington, D.C. does not have the jurisdiction to seize control of President Trump's authority to conduct foreign policy and keep the American people safe. Yes, 100% agree with this. I don't see how he can override the president. I just don't. If he wants, again, if you want to take it through the court system, that's one thing. But you don't have the right to just overturn anything the president says, because if that was the case, nothing would ever get done. Nothing. Whether it's a Republican or a Democrat president in the White House, if you've got rogue judges that just think that they can overthrow anything and, discard anything that the president does, nothing would ever get done. Nothing. Anyway, let's see. Where was I? The Department of Justice will continue fighting in court to make America safe again. I guess that's it from the post millennial. Look, again, like I said, it's not hard. I mean, take it through the court system. Again, like I said, nothing would ever get done if judges just went off willy-nilly against anything that the president does, whether it was a Republican or Democrat. Nothing would ever get done. The president has to have some power. Look, I mean, again, a prime example is the negotiations with Putin and Zelensky and the Russia-Ukraine war. If he does something that one of these judges doesn't like and they come out and say, nope, we're not doing that, you think Putin or Zelensky is going to talk with this guy? Of course they're not, because they know that these judges are just going to come in and say you can't do that, and then it's null and void. The president's got to have power. He can't just have his rulings overthrown and thrown out just because a judge doesn't like the ruling. I mean, anyway. Amy Coney Barrett is she's one of the Supreme Court justices that has ruled against. I mean, because it was 5-4. Amy Coney Barrett was one of the ones that sided with the liberals on this. All 3 liberal judges, plus Amy Coney Barrett, were the ones that said, yeah, we're going to go ahead and let judges have unfeathered power against the president. Keep in mind, Amy Coney Barrett was put on that seat because of President Trump. He was the one that got her in there. He got her nominated, and she was appointed by President Trump in his first term. But now it seems like every time you turn around, she's trying to rule against Trump trying to do his job. Again, if this could have been really, really bad, if it went the other way, can you imagine? Just imagine for a minute these judges ruling in favor of, district court judges ruling against anything the president says. You know what kind of precedent that would set? It's insane to think about the fact that just any judge out there can say, I don't like that. We're not going to do that, and overrule the president on a decision. I don't think that would work out very well. Again, Ukraine and Russia is a prime example of why it could go very, very wrong. Now I understand. Yeah, you can tell me, Ray, those negotiations aren't going very well, and I would have to agree with you. There's a lot of crap that's going on that we need to, President Trump needs to get a handle of the situation. I agree, especially when he came out and said that I would end that war in a day. And what are we, 3 months in now, and he still hasn't finished it? I mean, credit where credit is due. He said he was going to finish. He would end it in a day, and it's still going on 3 months later. So I think he needs to get on that pretty quickly. Anyway, we'll go ahead and we'll move on to the direwolf story. But you can let me know about the Supreme Court. Tell me what you think about the ruling. Do you think that these judges should have unfeathered power against the president? Do you think that that's okay? You think that would be a good thing for the country? I understand checks and balances, but I don't think that one judge on a circuit judge should have the power to overrule the president's decision. I think it sets a bad precedent, and we don't need that. Anyway, direwolves. Let me know what you think about this. This is crazy. These animals, this wolf breed has been extinct for 10,000 plus years. I've seen 10,000. I've seen 13,000. But they're back apparently. Take a look at this one here. This is wild. This is from Yahoo News. Okay, dire wolves were extinct around 12,500 years ago. Now, thanks to genetic engineering, they're back in what the scientists have described as the world's first extinction. The first thought that comes to everybody's mind is Jurassic Park. When you read this story, you see it, you hear about it. Jurassic Park is the first thing that comes to everybody's mind, because how did this happen? We'll see. Let's see. The scientists at Colossus Biosciences, a biotech-based conservation company best known for trying to bring back woolly mammoths, say they have successfully produced 3 direwolf pups. They did this by reconstructing the wolf's genome from ancient DNA, identifying versions of genes seen only in dire wolves and not in the extinct carnivores' living relatives. Again, this is wild. How long do you think it'll take before we have a real Jurassic Park and it's not just a movie? If they can bring back an extinct wolf. Now, granted, these wolves have been extinct a lot less time than what dinosaurs have been. But it makes you wonder, are we headed towards something like Jurassic Park? Crazy. It's crazy to think about. Anyway, the team then tweaked DNA from modern-day gray wolves to include these unique gene variants. They inserted the DNA into these science words, they're hard to say, but let's see, gray wolf egg cells, and allowed them to mature in the lab before introducing them into surrogate dogs' wombs. 3 embryos successfully implanted in 3 surrogate dogs, leading to the births of snowy white pups named Romulus, Remus, and Khaleesi. Huh. Well, I guess they're Game of Thrones fans. Now, that's the other. If you don't know what a direwolf is, just go. I mean, a lot of people have watched Game of Thrones. And if you have, you know what a dire wolf is. I don't think they'll be that big. I don't think they were ever that big, but the pictures I saw, I didn't see anything that was massive like those ones were. But anyway. Da, 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 da. Jon Snow's direwolf in HBO's Game of Thrones television series. Our team took DNA from 13,000-year-old tooth. That's wild. To 13,000-year-old tooth. They were able to extract DNA from it. That's crazy. And a 72,000-year-old skull and made healthy dire wolf puppies. I didn't even know you could get DNA off of something that was that old. That's wild. Anyway, Colossal CEO Ben Lamb said in a statement, "It was once said any significant advanced technology indistinguishable from magic. Today, our team gets to unveil some of the magic they are working on." Let me ask a question. How many of you out there, and you can comment, let me know, how many of you think that these, now, as far as I understand it, these wolves were extinct just from natural selection. Okay. There was nothing there's a theory that it was due to climate change, but 13,000 years ago, was that really an issue? I mean, the climate's always been changing throughout time. So, in my opinion, I from what I read, it seems like they were just naturally selected to go extinct. Now, you let me know. Is this a good thing that they brought these back? Is it gonna mess up the ecosystem that we have now? Is it gonna introducing a new breed of anything could have massive implications upon the wildlife, the ecosystem that we have now. So, I don't know a whole lot about dire wolves. I didn't dive into it and see like what their tendencies, that kind of stuff were, or what have you. But what kind of effect would this have on the ecosystem that we have now if we introduce these dire wolves into the wild? What's going to happen to that ecosystem? Now, are they going to do that? I don't know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Again, it's a controlled group. Maybe they just are going to keep them in a pen. I don't know. I don't know. But if they were to put these into the wild, what kind of effects would it have? Let me know. Somebody who's more educated on this than I am can let me know. I'm curious about it. I would like to know. Anyway, let's see. Excuse me. To de-extinct the direwolf, the team used process similar to the one that led to the Dolly the sheep in '96. To produce a perfect clone with this method, a single cell is removed from the cloning subject and its genetic material held in the cell's nucleus is extracted. The genetic information is then inserted into the egg of a donor animal from the same species who owns nucleus has been removed. So that tells me, so we don't have dinosaurs now, right? I mean, if you believe Jurassic Park, the movie, I mean, eggs from our, reptile DNA, maybe crocodile, frogs, that kind of thing, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. However, because direwolves went extinct at the end of the last ice age, Colossal had to approximate their own direwolf cells by piecing together clues from the fossil record. This is wild. Again, you can let me know. Tell me what you think about this. It's interesting. Let me see. I thought I had. I thought I had the little video of them howling. Let me see if I can get it real quick. Let's see. Direwolf. I can pull it in here real quick. Here we go. I'll bring it in. Hold on. Give me just a quick second here. Just put it in there. That there. There we go. Boom. All right. So, here we go. So we got this. This is from X. Sound on. You're hearing the first howl from a dire wolf in over 10,000 years. Meet Romulus and Remus, the world's first de-extinct animals born on October 1st, 24. Now this is another thing that I was worried about, or wondering about rather. These were born last year in October. So how come nobody heard about it until now? They kept a pretty tight lid on this because it's pretty big news. So they kept a lid on this for what, 6 months now, something like that. The dire wolf has been extinct for over 10,000 years. These two wolves were brought back from extinction using genetic edits derived from a complete dire wolf genome, meticulously reconstructed by a colossal from ancient DNA found in fossils dating back 11,500 and 72,000 years. This moment marks not only a milestone for us as a company, but also a leap forward for science, conservation, and humanity. From the beginning, our goal has been clear: to revolutionize history and be the first company to use CRISPR technology successfully in the de extinction of previously lost species. By achieving this, we continue to push forward our broader mission on accepting humanity's duty to restore Earth in a healthier state. Let's see. This is the video of them howling. I mean, pretty wild. They just look like a normal dog, like wolf pup, but I mean, sounds like a dog to me. But hey, I know most dogs are, their ancestors were wolves. Most dog breeds were, except for Chihuahuas. I mean, Chihuahuas. I think they were part of the coyote family. I think, which they're not. They're not really dogs. So, but I mean, that's pretty wild. You guys let me know. It's kind of crazy, but anyway, go ahead and move on to Elon Musk. He says that he's going to be taking a look at people in Congress who are making way too much money. Namely, everybody thinks, when everybody hears that, I can guarantee you most people think automatically Nancy Pelosi. What's her net worth? And again, there was just a story last week about her putting a few $1,000s into a tech company, and then just boom, the next day she got like $100,000 off of it. It's nuts. And it's because these people, they enact these laws that enrich themselves. You really think that she put a few $1,000s into this company in their stock without her knowing that it's going to make her a crap ton of money? She knows. They all know. I mean, it's not just that. It's the you've got the donors and the lobbyists and everything else that donate money to their campaigns and what have you. I mean, it's not just the stock market, it's everything else. Jasmine Crockett, I mean, she's another one that people think of, because these people they make less than 200,000 a year. Most of them, I think the initial when you first get into Congress, I think it's 175,000 a year, which is still really good money. It's more than I make, I can tell you that. It's good money. So these people get into Congress, they have a base salary, 175,000 a year. I'm pretty sure that's the base when you first get in. You've got that. Then you've got these people, they're making upwards of, Jasmine Crockett, I think her net worth is around 20 million now. It's wild. I don't see why you wouldn't look into this kind of stuff. But here, we'll take a look at this. From Yahoo Finance. How'd they get 20 million on a 200K salary? Asks Musk as he reveals Congress's strangely wealthy members are next in Doge's crosshairs. Good. I have been saying this for years about the fact that, how are these people making all this kind of money? It wasn't till, after I look into it, you see, the trades on the stock market. You find out they get paid from lobbyists. They get money for their campaigns and have donations from, look at Bernie Sanders. He's another good example. The guy's got 3 different houses. Why do you have 3 different houses? I don't know. I think vacation home, 2 houses. Okay, you got a vacation home. You make decent enough money to have a vacation home. I get it. Fine, whatever. If you want to have a vacation home, that's your prerogative. I don't understand it, but hey, you do you. But how are they making this amount of money? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't add up. You can let me know what you think, but Elon says he's going to look into these people, and I think he should. Elon Musk is taking aim at Capitol Hill, the billionaire CEO of Tesla, and SpaceX says, that they throw that part in there every time somebody writes an article about him. They have to throw that in like nobody knows that he's the CEO of Tesla, and he's SpaceX. He owns Twitter, now X. Like, people don't know this about this guy already. They got to throw it in anyway. I digress. Oh, now turning its focus to members of Congress who have built massive fortunes while drawing relatively modest public salaries. Yeah, that's another thing. Keep in mind the 175 base salary that these people make, that's taxpayer dollars. We are paying them $175,000 a year. Think about how many people are in the House. Think about how many people are in the Senate. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of taxpayer dollars. But anyway, how'd they get $20 million if they're earning $200,000 a year? Nobody can explain that. Musk said during a recent town hall in Wisconsin, "We're trying to figure it out and certainly stop it from happening." Yes, please look into it, because I can almost guarantee, I can't say with an absolute certainty because I don't have the evidence, but Nancy Pelosi has got to be doing inside. She's got to be doing something illegal. You cannot dump a few $1,000 into a company and then the next day have it skyrocket and make yourself over $100,000 without having some kind of inside knowledge. I don't understand it. She needs to be looked into. I mean, there's people out there. There's Reddit chat rooms. There's people on X. There's people that have dedicated X pages on following what trades that she makes in the stock market so that other people can try and cash in on it too, because she never makes a bad decision on a trade. Never. And that is impossible. Statistically impossible. She's the only one. It's because of her position in Congress that gives her a leg up, and they're the ones that make the policies and pass laws in order for these companies to thrive and do well. You think she's not pulling some kind of crap? I very seriously doubt that she's not. Anyway, let's see. Wealth raises eyebrows. The issue of lawmakers' wealth has been gaining attention across social media and business shows alike. On a recent Fox and Friends segment, Chris Joseph, co-founder of the stock tracking Autopilot app, explained how his platform monitors trades made by Congress members. Again, like I said, there's people out there who have made apps, dedicated websites. People have dedicated X pages just on following what Nancy Pelosi is trading, because the woman cannot do a bad trade. Every time she plays in the stock market, she comes out ahead by a butt ton of money. And it's not just little gains, it's huge gains that she makes. Huge. I think it's her net that he's talking about, because I'm pretty sure her net worth is $200 million. Now, granted, she's been in Congress for a very long time. I showed you just like last week a clip of her saying that tariffs were a good thing back in 99, 96, 95, something like that. It was in the late 90s. She was coming out saying that she is for tariffs and that they're a good thing. That was back in the late 90s. I don't know exactly how long she's been in Congress, but it's been a long time, and she has made millions in Congress. Now, you think about it, $200,000 a year, even if she didn't spend any of that money. Let's just do it real quick. We'll do the math. I'm not good at math, so I'm going to bring up my calculator. Just to see where we're at. Okay, so we'll just say, to be on the other side of it, we'll say 90. Well, we're in 25 now, so we'll say 95. So that'll give us, let's see, 95, 05, 15. That'll give us 30 years. I knew I was right. I had to make sure, though. Like I said, my math is terrible. I just had to make sure I was going to say the right thing. 30 years, we'll give her. Okay, so we got 200,000 times 30. That's $6 million. Granted, a lot of money. That's a lot of money. $6 million that you've made over the course of 30 years in Congress. So how is she worth 200 million? Because of the stocks that she does, the trades, everything else. I understand. I understand getting money from lobbyists, donations for your campaigns. Bernie Sanders got all that money from Big Pharma. You know, I understand you get campaign contributions and what have you. That's money that's supposed to be spent on your reelection campaigns and everything else. But most of the time, these people don't have to do anything major as far as being reelected because people just reelect them. I don't know how. It boggles my mind, but these people just get reelected willy nilly. So I don't see them spending a lot of money, especially all those contributions that they get for their campaigns. I don't see them spending a whole lot of it. How do you make $200 million when your base salary only gets you up to $6 million? Now maybe she's gotten a raise. Maybe she's gotten to 250,000 per year. Maybe. That still doesn't add up to $200 million. Anyway, we'll keep going with this. I kind of went off on a side rant there, but that's okay. While disclosures exist, Josephs points out the real blind spot. There isn't too much that you can really see on the actual stock trading side for politicians. However, there is not much that you can really see into the spouses and dependents. That's another good point. That's a good point. What about the spouses? I mean, these lawmakers, they're making the laws. They're putting into place what makes these companies successful or failures. They can make a company successful if they want to. And if it's a publicly traded company, they can buy up those stocks. Nancy can call her husband and say, I want you to buy $5,000 worth of this tech stock. He doesn't have to question why. He knows that they may be passing a law and they're going to make a butt ton of money off of it. The spouses is a good point that I didn't even think about. So there's that. Joseph's added, if I were Elon and recommended where to look for the suspicious stuff going on here, I would go right to the spouses and especially the children as well. That's a good point too. The kids. I mean, you think about, there was that story about Chelsea Clinton getting money from whatever foundation or whatever that was supposed to go to relief in a foreign country. I think it was. But she actually pocketed that money with, I think it was $6 million for her wedding and then $10 million for a house. That's wild. It's because these people don't play by the rules. They get their money however they care, however they want to, because they know there's not consequences. Again, it comes back to consequences. Actions have consequences until these people are held responsible for their actions. They're going to keep doing whatever they want because they know they can get away with it. Anyway, I think Elon should look into this. There's no telling what he could find after he starts looking into this. Anyway, one example that keeps coming up is former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. There you go. While husband Paul Pelosi is a venture capitalist with a long history of investing in high growth tech stocks. There you go. Musk doubles down. Musk isn't talking about Pelosi during the town hall. An audience member asked Musk whether Doge had uncovered any signs of money being routed through the U.S. Agency for International Development to any of the radical left Democrats. Excuse me. Musk responded, they'll send money overseas to one NGO, then they'll go through a bunch of them, and I'm highly confident that a bunch of that money then comes back to the United States and lands in the pockets of the people you just mentioned. Yes, I've said that before. This money, USAID is a prime example of it. It's shut down, and rightfully so. They funnel the money through these organizations. They send it overseas to an NGO. Then somehow it ends up back in the United States, right back into the pockets of these lawmakers. And I'm going to say it again. If you're not okay with Doge going through the federal government and finding the waste and fraud of your taxpayer dollars, then you've got other issues. That's my taxpayer dollars that are getting funneled right back into the United States and into these lawmakers' pockets. I'm not okay with it. The fraud has to be found. There's 500 billion dollars every year within the US budget that is just gone. Nobody knows where it goes. On average, 500 billion taxpayer dollars. Where did it go? Nobody knows. Anyway, let's see if we've got anything else here. Musk has not provided any concrete evidence to support these claims, and none of the individuals named have been formally accused of wrongdoing. He didn't say anything about Republican lawmakers. I don't care who it is, left or right, Republican, Democrat, Independent. If you're guilty of misuse of government, of power, using your influence to influence stocks to gain yourself money, you shouldn't be in office. If you're funneling money to organizations overseas and then having it come right back to your pocket, you shouldn't be in office. I don't care who it is. I don't. That's why I'm okay with Doge going through these organizations and finding waste and fraud. Anyway, I don't understand how people would be against it. But I digress. While Musk has stopped short of directly accusing anyone of illegal behavior, he says the current system deserves scrutiny. His push for transparency echoes calls made by politicians from both parties, including the former President Joe Biden and Rep. Ro Khanna, who have supported banning stock trading by members of Congress. I think that's perfect. Just ban it outright. Don't let members of Congress should not be involved in the stock market, that to include their families. Maybe make an exception for grandkids. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how you could regulate that, but if you're a sitting member, at the very least, if you're a sitting member of Congress, you cannot trade, have anything to do with the stock market, because you're the ones that are enacting laws that will make or break these companies. That's it. Done. You shouldn't be able to do it, but anyway, it's gonna be a little quicker today, because there other than the Supreme Court justice coming down saying that Trump is well within his rights to enact the Alien Enemies Act. It was kind of a slow Monday. Other than that, so yeah, that's all I got for now. But hey, I appreciate y'all hanging out through my ramblings. I know I talk too much about some things, but anyway, again, appreciate you hanging out. If you like what you saw, again, I'm here 7:30 Eastern time, live every morning, Monday through Friday, right ahead of the Rumble lineup. Tune in, follow me, give me a like, and I really appreciate you being here. I hope y'all have a great day, and take care of each other, and God bless.